Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new documentary, Satisfied, coming out of the Tribeca Film Festival from directors Chris Bolin and Melissa Heislip, and this focuses on the story of Renée Elise Goldsberry, who is mother and big-time performer in Hamilton, and this film takes you through her very personal journey of motherhood and such. And this film is extremely personal. It's very intimate. It's basically a video documentary that's a documentary. A video diary that takes you into the life of Goldsberry as she struggles with balancing motherhood and her own reproductive challenges with the rising shooting star that is Hamilton and being strapped to that rocket. And this film really explores her struggles and her successes along the way, because she was a rising star. She was a breakout star from Hamilton. She was one of the biggest performers in the whole entire musical. I'm a big fan of hers from Girls 5 Eva. Love that show. And this film is able to capture that struggle with it's a long job. It's 12-hour days. It's not even just the performances, it's the PR and all of those different things. But also it's really fascinating seeing the progression of Hamilton from one of the performers and her specific perspective, because probably most of the time we see it through the eyes of Lin-Manuel Miranda, so it's interesting seeing it through Goldsberry's perspective instead. But most importantly, there's some really heavy emotional moments. One of which is when Goldsberry is really getting into the struggle she's had getting pregnant and staying pregnant. And there's some very vulnerable moments for her. There's one particular moment that really showed how much of a struggle it was balancing her family life with her children and her husband, along with being in Hamilton, that feels like there's a moment between her and her son that will rip your heart out. It's that deeply emotional and vulnerable. Goldsberry really puts herself out there, all of her feelings, her perspectives, and there's such a few great moments in terms of her dynamic with her husband, and this is very inspiring, trying to see a family dynamic that make it work, despite husband's a lawyer, wife is a giant star on Broadway, and they have their kids, and they're able to make that all work. And it's such a fascinating peek behind the curtain. It's simplistic in its production. It's simple in its story structure and how it's told. But it's the heart, it's the soul, it's the passion that this video documentary style allows for, because it is so much just Goldsberry and letting it all out for the camera and all out for the viewer to see the most deeply personal aspects in her. She gets very real and authentic with some of her experiences on realizing she was pregnant in the middle of performing Rent that was being video recorded for one of the last performances ever for Rent. And all of those different moments, this is such an engrossing and engaging experience to watch, and added so many layers to this woman who's just known as a celebrity to most, but there's so many layers to this person, and this documentary is able to capture that so well on screen. This is engaging, it is poignant, you might shed a tear, you might have a few laughs and a big smile on your face at times as well. It's one of those kinds of documentaries, and it really hits. But those are my thoughts on Satisfied. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.